Welcome back to the Live for Life podcast. I am here with the one, the only G-Dog. G-Dog, how are we this evening?
I found the podcast studio today, so I'm really happy.
I'm so proud of you, yet we still weren't able to start on time because of some highlighting going on.
Bit of highlighting, but everything's highlighted, and I've just got loads of facts.
I thought this episode would excite you, but we need to talk about something else. You've just had a lovely weekend away in Paris, and I was obviously just asking how it went, and you said, well, there was a bit of a problem with another dog. So could you explain what happened?
Quite incredible. As we arrived in the reception of the Hotel Coste in Paris, which we've been going to for 21 years, who should we see but Snoop Dogg? And he was obviously famously there for the Paris Olympics. And he'd obviously gone back for a return trip, and he was staying at the same hotel as us. So he was in the reception. I obviously had my G-Dog Nike Metcons in my bag, but not actually on. And they've obviously got a silver thing at the back. So it was a totally Snoop Dogg type situation with my trainers. But I couldn't show them to him, and he looked at me, I looked at him, there was this knowing glance, and he just didn't want to admit that he knew me. And so I obviously ignored him, I mean, whatever, but it's just the fact that he looked at me as if, oh my God, that's G-Dog, and then he looked away, he was just embarrassed. I didn't have my sunglasses on, so I was perhaps more recognizable than I would normally be in that situation. I just didn't expect to be spotted.
Are you jealous of his D-O-double-G, or are you very happy with just the G?
Well, as you remember from our podcast interview with Stefan in Frankfurt, he pointed out that there weren't enough G's in the dog.
So maybe we go triple.
But you've already made the shoes.
Absolutely, so we'll stick with it.
Yeah.
But also, you do get the G at the start as well.
That is true.
Whereas
he
just gets Snoop.
The other thing I get very confused about, as you know, there's many things I get confused about, but is whether to hyphenate G-Dog. So maybe we should have a survey on that. Should G-Dog be just G-Dog, capital G, capital D, O-G, or should it be capital G dash capital D, or should it be capital G small d, O-G?
I would always go dash. G-Dog.
So.
If I was to mess you, I think I always do
Does
that.
Snoop Dogg do a dash? No, because there's no reason for a dash.
I'm not sure, actually. Maybe he does. But I'm good, thank you. Thanks for asking.
Sorry, and how are you, Angus? You had a bit of a rush here because you were in a special meeting.
Yeah, so I've actually come on an electric scooter, which I don't think I've been on in many, many years.
You used to have one you owned.
Yeah, exactly.
And 7 years ago, you owned an electric scooter.
But the quickest way for me to get here was via electric scooter. So
not great neat.
No, not great neat, but I guess slightly better than driving, which I usually do. Which
definitely better than
you
driving.
often tell me off for.
Yeah.
Even though my neat levels are
drive 5 minutes.
My neat levels are particularly high. You know, I don't want the lid to get wet from the rain as well. You've got to remember that. Whereas you don't have that problem for obvious reasons.
I've got my hat on now.
Generational thing, isn't it?
Generation.
Anything else news-wise, G-Dog, you'd like to share?
There's a lot. We haven't seen each other for like a week, so there's so much.
Someone said to me the other day that your legs might be getting a bit smaller. Is there any reason for that? You're a bit scared, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously decided to WhatsApp me a chicken leg person today. But my blood clot situation is not getting any better.
Sadly not, no.
I think the entire global medical establishment is focused on me. So I had a meeting with my office doctor this morning. Then I had a meeting with my private personal GP at lunchtime on Zoom. And then on Thursday, I've got a meeting with the hematologist. And then obviously meeting with the Prime Minister to discuss it as well. So it's just quite extraordinary. I think the Health Secretary needs to analyse it as well. So a lot of people focusing on my 10 centimetre blood clot. I keep emphasising that it's 10 centimetres just to emphasise how big it is.
That is quite impressive.
Quite impressive. But apparently it's going to take 6 weeks to fully disappear. So
that means on Sunday we have to go for a literal dog walk, don't we?
Yeah.
Which you're a bit embarrassed about.
But you've said that you're not prepared to do that, so you're going to go for a run first, and then meet me for a dog walk afterwards.
Exactly. So you're
going to bring Patch.
Actually, I think I have Patch sitting this weekend, so yes. Anyway, should we crack on with the podcast,
Let's
G-Dog?
crack on.
So today, very exciting topic, and it's something I obviously go on about a lot on social media, and so do you. But we're going to talk about the importance of NEAT. Now, G-Dog, you kick us off. What is NEAT?
Yeah, so NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And you need to think about various aspects of total daily energy expenditure, TDEE, and NEAT is one part of it, and actually the most important part of it. So you've got your basal metabolic rate, and that is energy required at rest. Then you have your thermic effect of food. I think a lot of people forget that. That's another reason why you've got to eat stuff you need to chew, because you have more thermic effect of food if you are chewing meat and stuff like that. Whereas if you're having maybe porridge, then the thermic effect of food is lower. Then also you've got the exercise activity thermogenesis, which generally is a very, very small part. So an hour in the gym, very small part of energy expenditure. But then a huge part is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is all the other stuff you're doing. So it can be walking, fidgeting, standing at a desk, doing household chores like vacuuming. So all the other stuff you do during the day. And therefore, you need to remember, because it's such a core part of your energy expenditure, to maximize it and structure your day, even if you're going to the gym, to maximize your NEAT. Incredibly important to combine NEAT with a structured weight training program, because if you just do the weight training, you'll find you're not consuming as many calories as you think you need.
It is one of those things that's incredibly overlooked, isn't it? Like I know people who have had significantly better results from following very similar training programs, but they're able to do 5,000 plus more steps a day. And a lot of the time people make the wrong approach with it. So they will factor in their day, I'm going to walk 6,000 steps at 4 p.m. when actually the best way of integrating it into your daily routine is doing little and often. So 500 steps here and there. You have it at the office all the time, don't you? And you very quickly get yourself up to 8,000. You don't quite hit 10K very often, do you, G-Dog? You struggle with that?
But then you have to remember that the 10,000 step rule is a bit of a fallacy.
It is, and I agree with you there.
And and this is a fact that a lot of people might not know, but in my research, I think Angus knows this because I've discussed it with him before, but the 10,000 step rule was designed or produced in the 1960s as an advertising campaign for a pedometer called Manpo-K. Japanese accent coming out again. And in order to get people to remember to use the pedometer and the steps, they created 10,000 step rule. Now, if they said, it's the 7,512 step rule, it wouldn't be as memorable. So they created the 10,000 step rule. Yeah. But the American Health Institute called JAMA did a study in 2021 deeply analyzing this 10,000 step rule and worked out the impacts on mortality from steps. And anything above 7,000 to 8,000 per day is incremental improvement. So as long as you're doing 7,000 to 8,000, then you're fine. So yes, important, easy to remember 10,000, but 7,000 to 8,000 is the best.
Seems like a very good excuse for someone who doesn't hit 10,000. No, you are factually correct, but I think it is one of those things as well. It is something that's just nice for people to go for. And setting it as a base number for some people is good. I often find, just with the job that I do, I'm on my feet a lot as well. So it's much easier for me, even just walking to the gym, walking around the park, whatever that is. A lot of the time I'll be replying to clients by message, by voice note. I will use that period when I'm really in a messaging phase of a load of them actually walking around the park or even on a walking pad. That has been a game changer, particularly actually going into the winter months, going on hot girl walks, as Izzy would call it. Particularly in London for her, for safety reasons as well. If she wants to walk on her own, actually through the winter months, a walking pad is a really good idea. But going back to your point on the obviously eat and NEAT, obviously exercise activity thermogenesis, so your time in the gym. So I've been reading stuff and stuff I tell my clients. In the gym you might burn, let's say on a good workout, 300 to 500 calories. Obviously we don't exercise to burn calories. If you are, then change your methods, because obviously you're going to burn more calories doing a heavy leg session than you are an arm session, because you're just using more energy. So don't use that as a metric of success. But if you were to increase your daily NEAT, it could be as much as 1,000 calories if in terms of energy burnt from someone who does, let's say for this conversation, upwards of 12,000 steps compared to someone who's doing 5,000 or 6,000 steps. And over time, that increases a dramatic amount, doesn't it?
Yeah, I found during the day, it's also good for your inflammation as well. So one of the big things that everyone talks about when it comes to disease is inflammation's a bad thing. And so getting blood to flow around your body, getting your muscles to expand and contract, it basically reduces inflammation in your body. And so when you're sitting at your desk, if you've got an office job, just every 30 minutes, 45 minutes, getting up and walking around to get some water or to speak to a colleague. We all talk about people just sitting at the desk and being in a silo being a bad thing in an office environment, and the best thing is to communicate with other people and walk around for your own mental health as well as your knowledge. Then this is obviously perfect for NEAT, and you'd be amazed if you use your Apple Watch and even staying in the office all day, the amount of steps you can get literally just by walking around and talking to colleagues, getting water, going to the coffee machine, going to the pantry, getting a sandwich from your in-house cafe or canteen, etc. You can really ramp up the steps even without going outside.
I think going on to your point about the mental health side of things there as well, what it does for how you feel about yourself on a day-to-day basis when your NEAT levels are high is really significant, isn't it? Like, you'll know days where your step count, let's say for this conversation, is half, and what that does to you mentally. I know we obviously talk about the impact in the gym and how that is the main factor, but I can't get over the difference on days where I'm hitting 12,000 plus steps compared to 8,000 steps even. Just that one walk outside, particularly if you can do it outside, but just getting the blood flowing around the body, and also after you eat as well, digestive system. I often find after I've had a meal, going on a 15 to 20 minute walk really helps with my digestion as well.
I found in my research that it also helps for type 2 diabetes. That really shocked me. So just NEAT. So regardless of the amount of sugar and stuff you eat, which can be obviously causing diabetes, if you regularly move, then your insulin sensitivity improves. It basically results in your body's ability to utilize glucose more efficiently rises as a result of bodily movements, and therefore you're less likely over time to develop type 2 diabetes. So there's just so many aspects rather than just basic calorie consumption that NEAT is good for.
Have you got any more facts there, G-Dog, on that?
Yeah, I mean, so other things that NEAT is good for, aside from fat loss, obviously, as I said, insulin sensitivity. It improves your blood lipid profiles as well. So it changes your triglycerides and increases your HDL, which is your good cholesterol. And it reduces your LDL, which is bad cholesterol. Just moving around can do that. It's quite incredible. Reduces the systematic inflammation, which I've just talked about. It's very good for mental health. So walking around improves the blood flow to the brain. So not only is walking around good in the office in terms of like meeting other people, engaging with your colleagues and getting a break from sitting at your desk, but also it actually is mentally stimulating. So it's very good to move around, because then when you sit back down again, you're mentally then more prepared for the rest of the day, and you're better at working. If you just literally sit at your desk 5 hours in one block and don't get up, then you're probably going to be less efficient at your job. So it's very important to do that. And then finally, it says, obvious things. It counters sedentary health risks. So regular NEAT will combat the negative effects of prolonged sitting. It reduces stiffness, poor circulation. You have a lower metabolic rate if you sit still all the time, et cetera, et cetera.
I think the big thing to kind of wrap up that topic, which I'm sure actually this podcast is far from over, named G-Dog Sheet, so I'm going to get told off for cutting in. But to give people a really good idea, getting your NEAT up will completely transform your fat loss journey if you're someone who struggles to lose fat. I see it time and time again. Those people that, let's say, I think the average person who struggles to get their NEAT up is hitting 4,000 or 5,000 steps a day. Even if you were to just add 1,000 every day, 1 week, and then the next you add 1,000, and obviously progressively overload, the difference that would make to your fat loss journey is so significant. And so many of people, I'm sure, listening to this podcast, but also will do it, is you just think going out on a run is going to be the best way for you to lose fat, which actually, from a fat loss perspective, doing more neat is going to be far more beneficial. Because obviously when you run, from a physique building perspective, that's not what you want to do as well. You want to combine that with weight training. But with running, you find very quickly that you are much hungrier as well, because your body's burning more energy. And after a run, it is literally scientifically proven that it's likely that you are going to be more hungry. So you just end up eating more. So you're actually way less likely to be in a calorie deficit. So for effective fat loss methods, definitely upping your NEAT is far better than just thinking, oh, I'll go and run 12K today.
Yeah, I mean, if you go for a long walk, you're going to feel far less hungry than if you go for a 5K run, by definition. And the walk could take you much longer than the 5K run, and yet you feel less hungry as a result of it. So, classic Sunday thing, like Angus and I are doing, whatever, this Sunday, because we can't run, and going for a walk. Actually, I'm sure we're going to feel less hungry as a result of it. But tell me a bit more about your walking platform thing in your living room. So how long have you had it now, and when do you use it?
So walking pad, probably had it 6 months now. And I often throughout the summer months will use it when sport is on. So often I will have, whether it's City, whether it's the cricket, whatever, the F1, I will just walk on the walking pad whilst I'm watching the TV. And actually, it makes you feel great, and you just get your NEAT up so easily. And you end up actually getting a bit of a sweat on, because obviously it's warm inside as well. And of course, you can do it with a rig out as well, which around London,
but also
far less.
when someone scores, like in a City match, and you're walking on a walking pad, do you suddenly walk faster?
Just speed it up. Yeah, I crank it up. Like Erling Haaland charges through, it goes from 4 miles an hour to 5 to 6 miles an hour, and then you're basically going to win the speed walking world championship.
Can you turn it up? So
I have a remote in my hand.
Oh, really?
Crank it
so
up.
It's not like one of those things in the gym where you run, and if you run faster, it goes faster.
No.
That's quite dangerous.
Yeah.
You might fall off the edge.
Well, you might.
Yeah.
With your
a bit of difficulty with it. The one that's sort of a bit curved.
Do you struggle on the skill mill?
What do you call it?
The skill mill.
Skill mill. Yeah. Yeah, it's very difficult. If it's a treadmill and I've got a constant speed and I know how to do it, it's fine. But that thing that's got the curve in it, and you're trying to go at a constant speed, then suddenly it will start accelerating, and then I always remember it was. I don't know who it was, but someone actually died on one of those things where you literally run off the edge and fall head first.
And that's probably knowing you overthinking everything. You think it's going to happen to you every time, don't you?
Could do, yeah.
But honestly, the walking pads are genius. They really are. And I think, as I said,
expensive?
This one was 120 quid
right,
on Amazon. There are loads of them on Amazon.
And it's obviously electric, or not battery.
Yeah, you plug it in, and then there will be better ones that will be at higher cost that you could fold up, which if you are short on space, you can put to one side. But ours is a permanent feature. And Izzy, right now, when we're recording this podcast, is probably watching TV on it.
Oh, really? So not just you, both of you walk.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Do you have fights over it?
No, we don't, because
you have to buy another one. You can both walk together next to each other.
That could be couple goals.
And you can get a small one for Patch as well.
Anything else you would like to add to NEAT there, G-Dog? Are there any more facts, figures?
No more facts.
Guys, if there's anything you take from that episode, I really want you to think long and hard about how we spell G-Dog. You know? So please send in your thoughts, and anything else you'd like to add, let us know. There was another thing, actually, we were discussing today, funnily, with our good friend Imran. About the pump cover.
Yes.
And we have decided that bringing out a product would be the best way of doing it, wouldn't it?
I like the idea
prototype.
of unleashing the dog when the pump cover comes off.
Unleash the hound.
Unleash the hound.
So we're going to call it the pump cover. It's now going to be called the dog lead.
Why the dog lead?
Because you're on a leash.
Right.
So when you've got it on, hypothetically...
I think leash rather than lead.
Yeah, but you're on a leash. So it'd be the dog leash or lead.
Leash.
Sure.
Yeah, leash.
And then
that's on the front. So it's on the front. It says the dog leash. So just small text to make
small text just on the peck.
Quite cool.
Yeah,
small.
And you can pet pop on them.
Yeah. And on the back it would say
unleash the hound, and then you could almost have an hour up. So obviously all
lift here.
Exactly. Depends who you want to attract with that. But yeah, you just whip it off, and then they go, "I unleashed the hound," and you just obviously bark.
It can have a sort of Velcro thing so that you literally could rip it off.
I mean, I think that's got a bit out of hand there, but I liked my idea initially. So again, if you would like to buy this product, please put your name down. Let us know. And
Create the waiting list.
Yeah, create the waiting list.
Scarcity value.
I think on that note, we'll end it there, AG Dog. Guys, please, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for listening. I'm so excited. I'm still getting used to looking straight down the camera. Thank you so much for tuning into the Live for Life podcast with your hosts, Angus Warburton and G Dog. See you next time.